Hello everyone, this is Nidhi here. In this video, we will explore what is Ansible, how it helps in the automation. We will see how we can deploy the sample HTML file on the Tomcat server using Ansible. So let me start with what is Ansible? Why people these days are using Ansible so much? What it does, how it helps in your day-to-day activities. So first, Ansible is an open source automation tool. That means anybody can use it. There is no specific configurations required on your server. It's a simple installation, sudo yum install Ansible, and it could differ according to your Linux systems in the Ubuntu and all. But it's an open source automation tool, and you have to just install Ansible, and after that, it will work. So, what purpose? What is it used for? So, it is used to automate the provisioning and orchestrate your infrastructure. What does that mean? Like you create servers in AWS, like AWS EC2 instances, you create GCP, Google Cloud Platform instances, all those stuff. And once servers are created, you set up some initial configurations on those servers, and after that, you deploy your any applications on those servers. So all these activities previously used to done manually, and there are other tools, but these days Ansible is so popular that people are using it because of its easy. It is very easy to use, and there is no complexity in writing the code. It's a simple YAML file that needs to be write to achieve all those stuff. So that is the reason people are using or moving forward to use the Ansible. All manual steps, all the things which you do while deploying your applications, you can automate using Ansible. Basically, the deployment, you can make that deployment as a zero touch deployment where it will just automatically, as soon as you push something on the Git, it will trigger your pipeline job, and it will at the back end, it will use Ansible playbooks and just do the deployment. So this is just little bit of about what is Ansible, how Ansible works. So basically how you can use it, how it will work. So in very simple terms, what you need, you just need one server that we can call as the Ansible master node, where you will be installing the Ansible software. There is no need to install any agent or any other software on the remote host wherever your applications is deployed. So if from the infrastructure point of view, you just need one server where Ansible is installed. Ansible uses the push mechanism to push the changes onto the remote hosts, in contrast with the chef and puppet that uses the pull mechanism. So it there has different configurations that needs to be done for those tools, but in Ansible you just run the playbook, it will just push your changes. So that means if you are installing Tomcat, it will just push those Tomcat software on that server if it does not exist. So Ansible also check if if the Tomcat software is already installed on that server, it will not do anything. You will see in the output as an okay. Otherwise, you will see change that something has changed. So that things it automatically detects whether something is already there or not. The only thing which is required to Ansible to work is the SSH setup is required so that you can connect onto the remote host. So for the SSH setup, you can follow this article on how to set up the SSH connection between AWS instances. I recently posted a video on this, how you can achieve the SSH connectivity between two Ansible instances. So first you need to follow this so that SSH setup is there between AWS instances. After that, you can do whatever you want to do on those servers. Now, the question is why Ansible? Why do you want to do that? So, let's take an example here. You have a requirement of installing Tomcat server on 10 nodes, and what it requires. Whenever you install some software, it's a general things. You create some directories under that software needs to be installed. You create some users because we always want the services like the Tomcat service should run under root under Tomcat user. You don't want to use the root user or EC2 user, right? So all these steps it's required. And the next step, you need to download the software, extract it, and do the initial configuration of that software. And you start the Tomcat services, and then you can access your application on the browser. So this is the problem statement. This is what you wanted to do. So how you will achieve this? Manual approach. You will log into each of the servers. So if there are 10 nodes, you will log into each of the servers. You will create all those stuff, create users, groups, directories, copy the software, do the initial configuration. You have to do a lot of things. So what are the issues with this approach? First thing, you need some kind of expert of doing all the above task, basically who already did same process on the dev environment, so that he can just replicate it on the production environment. And it consumes a lot of time, and there is a chances that you can ended up with the different configurations on the servers, because there is one person who is doing it manually, so there is very much chances that he can do some mistakes, and there is obviously some manual intervention. So these are the some issues that is with the manual process. So what would be the automated process for that? What you will do, you'll just write an Ansible playbook which does all the above tasks which I mentioned above, and you just run that same playbook on all servers, which means there cannot be any surprised issues, and there is no dependency on the person who did the same setup on dev, and we need the same person to do it on the production also. Because it's an automated process, if that particular person is not available at that time, anybody can run the job, right? So this is an automated process for automated approach of doing those stuff. So we'll see how we can do that. So the prerequisite for this video is you need two AWS EC2 instances. So that will make one as an Ansible master node. We'll set up the SSH connection, and you can follow this article to do the prerequisite, how to launch AWS instances and how to set up the SSH connection between those. Once that is done, so I'll just give you a little bit of overview of how Ansible playbook needs to be right? So this is a normal structure of how to write the Ansible playbook. Obviously, if you do not want to use some standard practice, you can have all the YAML files at one folder only and just do it here. But that is not a good practice. So in this, it's a basic or it's a standard practice of how to use Ansible. So you would be having main.yaml file that would contain the code to call any roles. So this is here you provide your host, and this is the task, whatever roles you want to do. So right now I'm just using this, and there is one role for Tomcat. So you could have multiple roles in this file. You could put conditions like this role needs to be called only when something is defined. You can put a lot of conditions according to your project need, but this is the basic structure. And there would be a roles folder where actually you will be writing your playbooks, that is the actual logic of particular code. And this is the inventory files. This is how I wanted to manage, like this would be the host in the entries, and if you have different folders, then you would be doing in this way, like dev, prod, pvs, staging, and you'll just provide your host entries. There is an option you can also provide host entries at the command prompt also, but I mean, I like this idea, so I'm using this approach. So this is how you can manage the inventories here. And this is the config files. Configs folder, this contains the YAML file for dev and prod. So this would be your, you can consider it as the property files, where you will be defining the properties file according to the environment. So I'm just putting the index page, DevOps password, whatever it, I mean, you can put all the variables here. So this is how in Ansible you should manage it. And this is the group well. So those config files is the environment specific, but if you have something which is common across environments, right? You don't want to use the same thing on all the different properties files. So this is like my HTTP port, HTTPS port. This is common across dev and prod. So it could be the place to store your common parameters across your environments. like Tomcat group, Tomcat user. So this is common. On prod also I will be creating same user, and on dev also I will be creating same user. So this is how you can do that. And now it's the main important things, roles. So in this tutorial we are actually focusing on installing the Tomcat. So I have created the Tomcat folders. Yeah. So in this, I have created this Tomcat folder, and there is a main.yaml file. So which is actually the place where you have to write the code. So I wanted to install the Java. So I'm installing it. I need to create the group. So this is how you can create it. The users you can create in this way. Now you want to install the Tomcat, you can install it. So everything right now I have obviously hard coded, but you can put everything in the variable and start using variables, because that's a good practice. Here you are extracting it, you are creating the symlink. Symlink we are creating so that whenever server stop and restart automatically, service will come automatically. You don't need to go to the server and again start the services. You are doing some configuration, some Tomcat server. So right now, like server.xml. So this is the main file of the Tomcat's particular software. If you want to have XML files different according to the environment, like some port if you want to change, if some memory settings you want to change, so you can use the template in that way so that it can change according to the environment and you can manage it. Configure Tomcat users. If you want to do that, you can do it. In this example, I am just using the sample directories. I'm creating this directory folders, and this is I'm using the template of HTML file, which I'm just copying it. So this template file I can show you. So let me go there. So in the Tomcat folder, you always have the template folders, and in the index.html, this is my HTML file, and I have make it as an variable specific. So whatever is the value of index page, it will display. So this is how, if you have some file that you want to display and that should have different parameters according to the environment, then you can use the variables and put those values in the dev.yaml and the prod.yaml. So this is how you can use that. And in the task, so this is how it is configure, and after that you are just restarting the server, and this is the Tomcat init script, so that whenever the server stops it will automatically come. So this is the structure, and you always have this task templates wherever you want to. Handlers, it is for the whenever you have to restart anything, so you put those codes in the handlers, and these are the files. If you have any files just like test.sh files, so shell script, so you put it in the file folder, and in your Ansible playbook you just copy it. So this is my playbook to install the Tomcat. So let's see now how we can run it. So I have created these two instances. As I mentioned, you can create these two instances and do the SSH setup before you can run this command. I use git bash to connect to the SSH because it is easier for the Windows user. I don't need to do anything else. I can directly just copy this command and just run it. So here I have just copied it and I just run it. So here you can see I am logged in here. I have already created the user here DevOps so that I can log in with that user, and here I have already cloned my repo. And the only thing which you have to, if you are directly using this playbook, the only thing you need to just change your inventory files to point to your host. If you have multiple nodes, then you can just put it in the line by line, all the host entries. For now, I am just taking an example of one. Okay. So I clone this repo. Now what we need to do, we have to just run this command, and this playbook will install everything on those servers. And as I mentioned, the SSH setup is already done for this DevOps user, so I can directly use this command. So if I go there, I'll just run this command, Ansible playbook. This is my main.yaml file. This is my inventory file from the user which I am logging, and this is my key file, and this is my config file dev.yaml file, so that it will take all the proper variables. So let me just run it. So this, as you can see, this task I already ran. So it is, you are saying that it is an okay because it's already there. I don't need to do anything, right? And now it is installing the Java. This will take, I mean, little bit of time, but as you can see, here it is changed. So it is doing something. If I rerun the playbook, then you will see that it is an okay. So it is an advantage that you don't need to manage anything in your script. Okay, if it is already there, then don't do it. Ansible automatically changes, automatically see if everything is there or not, and based on that it will just run the playbook. So this is a good thing. So now you can see it did everything. So this is my host. So let me get the public IP of this host now. So this is my public host. So if I try to access this right now, this is the port basically for the Tomcat, you won't be able to do it because I have not done the settings. I have not included the inbound rule for this instance so that it can take any request on port 8080. So you have to just go to your security groups and edit the inbound rules, add rule, and here you can put your port. This is like the security reasons. You can have the custom, but right now I'm just putting it from anywhere, but obviously you can customize it. So now if I save the rules, you can see I should be able to access the Tomcat. See, it is there. So it means that Tomcat is installed, and I don't even need to log into the remote host. It is already, everything is automated. So this is here. I mentioned that I have created this samples.index.html. So if I see samples.index.html, and you can see this is dev environment. I showed you that I am providing this dev.yaml index.pis. This is .dev environment. So if you have different host, you want to run it against prod environment, it will be prod environment. So I can show you that also. So I don't have another server. So what I'll do, I will just run the same playbook and just provide the prod variables instead of dev. So here you can see I am just doing this prod, and now let me just run it. Okay. So actually there is one thing that I need to, so in the config file basically of so if you see cat dot, there is a DevOps password defined, but for prod it is not defined. That's why it's failed. So let me just we can put the random value DevOps underscore password test. Okay. So let me just DevOps underscore password. Okay. So I can run it again. So as you can see, this is already there. So you are saying, okay, it's already there. It's already there. It changed something. So that's why copy sample index.html. Now it has changed. So that's why you are seeing the changed option and restart Tomcat. So it did everything. Now let's refresh the page. You can see this is refreshed. This is prod environment now. So this is how you can manage different files, same files, different for the environments. What is the, so in this video basically how it helps, everything is automated. There is no manual intervention, lesser time. It takes 2 minutes to just execute the playbook. If you would be having 10, 50, 100 servers, you don't need to worry about all those stuff. You just run the playbook. It will take care of all the hosts. Easy to manage, easy to run. Anybody can run it. So if you post this right now, I'm just running everything manually. You can configure everything with the Jenkins also, so that it automatically triggers and do all the stuff. Thank you.